Hi, I wanted to give you a tutorial on how to complete and submit your heart rate project assignment. So here we go. On my website, you will go to Documents and Assignments, click on Heart Rate Project. In here you'll find our notes that we took on the heart rate project, including the 2 prezzies that we went over in class. Down here you'll find the project itself that you are going to need to complete and submit. So you will click on the appropriate one. It's going to download the Excel document, and I'll select it right down here. We'll wait for it to open up. At the top up here, it may ask you to enable editing so that you can work on the document. We'll click on that, and we will complete the assignment. You'll put your name, period, teacher, and then as we go through, you will see that you will need to complete any places where you see yellow is where either data or answers are going to need to be submitted. So we will work our way through putting in our answers as we go and show you what it should look like. So I'll go through for the first one. Here's my AHR, active heart rate, and I'll plug one in. This is our training zone range, which hopefully you know from notes and from us talking is 155 to 185. You'll notice as we do this, my graph starts to be created. This blue line here is the active heart rate. That's our baseline. And then the 155 to 185 is a shaded in area that we want to look at our exercise and recovery rates in comparison to. So we'll start to plug in our numbers. Whatever your numbers are would get plugged in here. I'm using somebody else's numbers here. And recovery rates. And there we go. So all my data is in. The graph is completed. The red section here is exercise. The green section is all my data points from recovery. And there's my graph. So from here we need to analyze what our graph is. You'll see our steps here is what we just completed. We recorded our information. How we recorded it on my graph, the shaded areas 155 to 185, and so on. This is the part that we've already completed here. We will then go through the question. So we see a yellow area. This is one that we need to answer. During the 15 minutes of running, my heart rate was below the aerobic training zone. So we would take a look up here and see how long my heart rate was below the aerobic training zone. You'll notice that at this point right in here, for the data that I put in, my heart rate made it into the aerobic training zone. Now we don't know that exact moment there, but we do know that at some point in here it made it in. We know each of these segments from here to here is 3 minutes, so we'll assume for these 3 minutes it was in, plus a portion of this 3 minutes. I won't be too particular as long as it makes sense to what your graph shows. So I'm going to call that 2 minutes out of this 3. So 2 here and 3 here makes a total of 5 minutes in the training zone. Of course, we ran for a total of 15 minutes. So if 5 minutes are in the training zone, that means 10 of the minutes for my data was below the training zone. We just took a look at this one. This one says during the 15 minutes my heart rate was in. In this case, mine was in for 5 minutes. That totals 15 minutes, which is all of our time, which makes sense because 0 of my minutes were above the training zone. And your numbers are going to look different. However, it would not be possible for your entire run to be in the aerobic training zone because there would have been some sort of build up to it. You would need to estimate that. So it could not be equal 15 as an answer here. It's possible for entirely below to happen, 15 minutes there, but this cannot equal 15 and it cannot be above for 15 because your heart rate would have had to have climbed to that point. You'll continue on down answering the other questions asked of you. Numbers 10 and 11, you will find the first one asks your heart rate dropped a total of, so we're talking about from this point here down to this point here. You can do that math from your data, but you'll notice question number 10, that drop in heart rate, the math is already done for us. That's 62 in my case. That would go there. Question 11, again, the math is already done. That's the recovery heart rate compared to your active heart rate. This gap here, how far apart are those? Again, the math is already done for me here. For me, it would be 8. So I could plug those answers in on my my question number 12 here. Based on that information from number 11, that would indicate that I either have a good, fair, or poor recovery heart rate. We talked about that in the notes. If you're not sure, you can go back to those on my website and review. And then how many steps did it take to do 1 mile? That's the 4-lap mark. You should have that number recorded on your data. And how many total steps did it take you during the 15-minute run? You should have that from your card as well. You'd continue on and do the same thing for your self-paced project. Enter your training zone, active heart rate, all your data points. Taking a look at your graph, you will respond to these questions. On the second graph, you will also need to include the total number of laps that you ran. This is question number 12. When you include the total number of laps that you ran, you will need to take a use the decimal form of that. So for example, as we have here 6 3/4 laps, we would write that as 6.75. And you will notice that question 13 is automatically answered for me, but you need to know what this number is because we're going to respond with some other questions regarding this number. So my aerobic training zone pace should be, if I had run 6.75 miles, this is what my aerobic training zone pace was. For anybody that ran that many laps, that would be the pace that they were running, an 8-minute and 52-second mile pace. So you'll need to see what that is for you. You will continue on down answering the questions in yellow. 15 and 16 both came straight out of the notes. Review your notes or go back to the prezzies if you need to. 17 has to do with how many steps you took in 1 mile during the self-paced run. And then 18 has to do with how many you took in comparison to your paced run. How many for that mile, 1 mile, which one took you less or more steps, and why do you think that is? And then answer number 19 as well. Once you have completed all of the questions, everything in yellow should be completed. I obviously did not fill all that in. You will save your document, file, save it somewhere where you can easily find it. I'm going to put mine in here so I can find it. And this is save. Alright, now that I've saved it, I'm going to go into Google Classroom and find that assignment. You will need to do the same. So here's Google Classroom. Right here is the assignment. And you will find this in your Google Classroom. To turn in this assignment now, it's going to get turned in here through Google Classroom. I will open this up, and I will need to attach that file that I just saved. So to do that, I need to find my work. So find the files or create something. I already did it, so I'm going to add, depending on where you save yours. Mine is a file. If you had saved it in Google Drive, you would find it there, but mine's a file. I'm going to select it from my computer. You could drag it in. Mine was under the desktop in this project folder. This one here. Open it. Now I'm going to upload that to my Google Classroom to turn it in. Take a moment here. It's working to upload it, and then I need to make sure that I click turn in, otherwise it will not get turned in. I will say turn in. Do you want to turn this work? Click it one more time, and it shows that it is done. So I've submitted my assignment. I, as your teacher, will be able to find that assignment and give you your credit as earned. Hope that helps.